Aloha, I'm Vagabond. Bald Jesus is your bro. You gotta love that. So I've been thinking about something recently, and I wanted to share it with you guys. And the thing is, what kind of a person becomes a follower of Bald Jesus? And we don't really even have a word for that yet. Maybe Balgies or Balgibees. So, what kind of a person becomes a Balgi? You know, so again, let me emphasize for those who haven't heard me say this, I'll say this always. I'm not Bald Jesus. I'm just a guy that happens to have, you know, for whatever reason, uh, been chosen to reveal Bald Jesus and the Holy Bijible to the world. And so I'm living Bald Jesusism for the next year. And, as they say in the software industry, I'm eating my own dog food, except it's not my own. So let me tell you a little bit about me. So I'm a person who is serious without being serious. I'm silly. I have a very sort of ridiculous view of the world. And at the same time, I have a very serious view of the world. It's always been really I've always been very aware of the fact that we're all going to die. That's a given. And that life is a deadly serious game. Nonetheless, it is a game. It has consequences. Nonetheless, the consequences don't particularly matter because we're all going to die at the end. And so I've always, from the time I was very little, been a person who was seeking answers and who looked and looked and looked and never found those answers in the established places. I found pieces of them. I found parts of them, in Hinduism and Buddhism, in some forms of like esoteric Christianity, in Sufism, in Islam to some extent, but again, the esoteric type, and also very much in the secular, meditative, sort of philosophical ideas that go along with all of those. But I never found anything that actually filled me up, something that filled up the void that exists in all of us. And I do believe that all of us have this empty space within us through evolution or nature or design. I can't say because, I'm just a person, right? So I can't say why that's there, but I do think that every person has this sort of empty space that needs to be filled, a place that gives us a certainty where there can really be no certainty. And I know that that's a little bit of talking in riddles, but we need to feel that we have answers to the things that can't be answered. And that's a part of our psyche. It's a part of our process. It's a part of who we are as people. So I've looked for that. I've tried to fill that space. And I think some people find that space very easy to fill. Some people aren't even aware of the fact that they have that space. Some people numb that space and, avoid that space and do anything that they can to avoid thinking about that space. Those are mostly the people who are like terrified by the fact that they're going to die. And they don't even want to think about it. They're so terrified. And it's also the people that attach themselves to dogmatic religions that sort of tell them exactly, but we're thinking people, right? If you're here, you're a person that not only is able to see things in a sort of humorous way and laugh at yourself and laugh at your own belief systems, but you're also the type of person who probably actually has questions and actually has a need to fill that space, and you haven't found it yet. So Bald Jesusism is sort of filling that space for me. And there's a few really key things that are attached to Bald Jesusism that I think it's very important that we have out in the open. The first is that if you believe something, great. You can believe it. I'm all for it. You can believe that the coffee table is your God. You can believe that God came from outer space. You can believe that God is this like bearded person who lives up in a imaginary place called heaven and throws lightning bolts. You can believe whatever you want. But if you start telling me that I have to live a certain way because of the things that you believe, and that what you believe has answers for me that come from some authority, we start to run into a little bit of a problem. And that's what most of the established religions have done and continue to do. They have these middlemen, right? And middlemanery is the problem. Like, let's make that very clear. Middlemanery is humanity's problem. And it's called middleman, not middle woman, for a good reason, because it tends to be men that do it. But, you know, if you're the person that is saying, no, God wants you to think this, or the person who's reading the Quran and saying, oh, what the Quran actually means is this, or the person who's reading the Christian Bible and saying, this is what this means, and I'll tell you what it means, or the person who is saying, you have to do this because my imaginary friend says you have to do this, then we probably have a problem. And if you don't like hearing that, and if that makes you angry to hear me say that, and if you think this guy's so full of shit, well, then probably being a Bald G or a follower of Bald Jesus isn't going to work for you. And aloha, sayonara, have a great time. Enjoy whatever it is that you find, and I hope you find great fulfillment in it. However, if you can laugh at yourself, if you are aware enough to look inside yourself and to find the answers for this existence within yourself, and to read and to look at new ideas or to listen to new ideas and to sort of come up with things that work for you, then you're in the right place. Okay, now the Holy Bible has all kinds of stuff in it. You might agree with it or you might not, but the beauty of it is you read it, you interpret it. I'll tell you what my interpretation is. If you want to listen, if you want to read, that's great. But if you just want to read it yourself and get your own interpretation from it, that's perfect. You're going to find truth that way. And in fact, you'll find more truth than you'll find with me telling you, right? I don't want you to believe exactly what I believe. I want you to find your own belief systems. I want you to find your own way, your own path. There is a path for you, and I want you to find it. And the only way for you to find it is for you to have that openness, okay? So if we look at things like, you know, the practice and Bald Jesusism, the 10 things, like those are very wide open, man. You know, walking every day, like you're a person, so you're going to walk every day. You can decide what that is. For me personally, it means going outside and taking a long walk every day, whether it's raining, whether it's snowing, whether I feel like it, whether I'm tired, whether I'm sick, no matter what. For me, that works. So, you know, I'm going between 5 and 7 miles a day, and it fucking works. You know, and I feel much better for it. Same thing with meditation, right? You can meditate for 1 minute. You could call meditation every day just taking a breath and having mindfulness and awareness of that breath. You could call taking a walk every day, walking from your bed to the bathroom, if that's what's going to make you feel good. But, and this is the but, listening to yourself means also being a little critical of your own truth, right? And understanding where that motivation is coming from. So if you're going to say, okay, I can be a Bald Jesusist and just walk from my bed to the bathroom and back and never leave that, that's great. If you're feeling good, if that works for you, if that's all you can do, or if that's all that you feel that you need to do, great. But look inside yourself, right? Again, another very broad thing of the practice. Stop doing things that you know are bad. Start doing things that you know are good. And taking a walk every day around the block, outside, going outside, this is probably something that's going to be good for you, and you should know that. So, what kind of a person gets involved in this? First of all, you can't take yourself very seriously, because you can't look at this guy with his gold tooth, right? This, and love thy neighbor written in there. You can't look at this and take it too seriously. And if you're the type of person that wants to kill people over your belief system, then this definitely isn't for you. And if you're the type of person who wants to force other people to have your belief system, then it's definitely not for you. I mean, basically, to be a Bald G, you have to be a little bit of a weirdo, right? You have to be a little bit of a weirdo. You have to be a little bit self-aware. You have to be a little bit of a seeker. You have to be a little bit of a person who's willing to do the work yourself. And you have to be honest with yourself. If you can't be honest with yourself, then, you know, you're going to find lies that somebody's telling you that make you feel good, and that's going to be fine for you. And again, best of luck to you. But I do think that we have the opportunity here to fill in this void, this human void that we all have, with something that's beautiful, and to create something that allows other people to find their own path, to find their own way forward. You know, for too long we've had these religions that basically are predatory and materialistic and awful, really. They're awful. And they all rely on these middlemen who basically are using their power to fuck your kids or fuck your wife or fuck some virgin in the temple, or, they're basically using their power to fuck and to take. And that's what it's all about. And now I'm not saying that there aren't good people in every religion, because there are. There's great people in every religion, and there's people who sincerely want to help people, and there's people who sincerely have love and joy and happiness, and they want to share that and give that to someone else. Those people all exist. But this institutionalized, you have to do things this way, and our way is right and everybody else is going to hell, this has to stop. And I think that what we're seeing right now with the younger generation, the millennials and the alphas that are following them, what we're seeing them wholeheartedly abandoning organized religion, which I think is great. But, okay, and this is important, nature loves a vacuum, and it also loves an empty space, and something always moves in to take it. And, my brother, he says that TikTok is going to move in and fill it, and he laughs about that. But the truth of the matter is, if we don't have something to give to people to fill that space that already exists in them, that's already filled with something that they're trying to get rid of and they don't want, then they're not going to have the choice to decide what it is that's going to fill that space. And that's where we run into problems. Do we really want marketers to determine what the future of humanity is? I don't. Because they're going to fucking want to sell you shit, and they don't care if it's good for you or bad for you. They got a hold of health food, and now you look at oat cakes, and they're not oat cakes anymore. They're like chemical cakes. As one example, of many, many, many. Yogurt was another one. All the health foods that started out being health foods, once they became marketer fodder, they're not health foods anymore, man. Organic is not as we all think of it. Let's just put it like that. And if you're not doing critical thinking, then you're going to miss a lot. So, what kind of a person follows Bald Jesus? This kind of a person right here, okay? Like, maybe intelligent, maybe not. Maybe ridiculous, maybe not. Maybe fun and lighthearted, maybe not. But not taking myself so seriously that I have to prove that I'm right to anyone else. I don't. You can laugh at me. And you should, honestly. You should laugh at Bald Jesus. You should laugh at Bald Jesusism. But while you're laughing, you should also be looking at it and saying, you know what? Maybe that does make sense. Maybe it does make sense to transact on the blockchain and to do cryptocurrency and to create art every day. Maybe all of that does make sense. Why? Because it makes you feel good. And maybe it gives you free money. And maybe it gives you the time to actually dedicate the limited minutes and hours of your life to things that make you feel good and make the people around you feel good and make life better for everybody. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do here. And I hope it works. But at the very least, this practice, this process, this filling of the void with Bald Jesusism and Bald Jesus is actually making my life better. It already has, in less than a month, or a little bit more than a month, I guess, of doing this, but in just a few days of doing it formally since the release of the Holy Vigil, I feel much better, man. And I'm dealing with problems and issues in life that would have been, much more difficult before. And now they're not so difficult. They're easier to deal with, even if they're still difficult things. So anyway, you guys, I just wanted to give you that. I wanted to give you me, who I am. I'm just this dude, man. I'm just a dude. And that's pretty much it. I have some good ideas, I have some bad ideas, I have some funny ideas, I have some fucked up ways of thinking about things. I've done some fucked up things in my life, and I'll probably do some fucked up things in my life in the future. That's the way it is. We're humans. That's what we do. So, if you read my books, you might be like, fuck, what is wrong with this guy? Is he nuts? Yeah, maybe. But at the same time, I want you to be happy. I want my life to have an impact on your life, and a positive impact. I want my life to have an impact on everyone's life. And why shouldn't it? Why shouldn't all of us have an impact on everyone's life? Every action. Why shouldn't we be that butterfly flapping its wings in the Amazon rainforest that instead of creating a tsunami somewhere, actually creates a beautiful sunny day? So I won't go in circles with that anymore, you guys, but join me on this path of Bald Jesusism. Come to our Discord. Join us there, revolutionarty.com and baldjesus.com. You'll find all the links to it. Draw some art, paint some art, sculpt something, create something, write some code, do something creative, spend some time with people that you love, go outside, enjoy nature, look at this beautiful world that our species is destroying before it's gone, and deal with life and enjoy it. And come to Hawaii. All right. Aloha. I hope you have a wonderful day. And thank you for making it this far in this video if you have. That's amazing. Aloha.